All right, another week has passed. Week number 3, we got to work on these characters a little bit more. So this week, what I worked on is I was happy with both of the characters. I decided let's go ahead, get them on bases, start adding bases around them to kind of turn them into a full figure, and then kept going with our hero just a little bit more. So remember, this one right here, our life drain. He is that energy vampire just sucking the life out of you. Just that person that tells you to kind of hold off. Wait, don't do it yet. He's also that one that kind of takes your health for granted and says, you know what, you don't need to work on yourself. You don't need to exercise. You don't need to eat better. You don't need to take care of yourself because you're fine right now. Tomorrow we'll worry about that. He's the one that tells you just hold off on that creativity, put it on a shelf. We can go, we can it's there. We can grab it anytime we want. Let's work on that tomorrow. So with him, I added on a little bit of his base. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I just wanted to get it started. I was thinking maybe along the back have a V for vampire, kind of like in an old Gothic type of look. I was referencing I have a Bram Stoker's Dracula that I created, and on the back I had that big letter D, the Dracula, in that Dracula type of font. And I was thinking something like that. This obviously wouldn't be Dracula, but maybe like vampire. I'm not sure though. We'll have to see how it goes. Other than that, I didn't, there's not a whole lot other stuff to him. With him, next week, I do need to still finish up his collar, finish up refining his head, work on those ears, and then the base. But right now, he's at a good spot. Now, the hero, our wellness guard. He is that voice that takes charge. He gets up every morning. He does exactly what he needs to do. He stands guard at the door to your mind. He doesn't let those toxins, those poisons into your head. So with this week, you guys, I want you guys to think about who your wellness guard is and what are some of the things that he's been watching out for, and what are some of the things that you have not exactly guided him to keep away. What are some of the poisons that have gotten through that you need to have your guard take care of or push away or say no to? So with him, I added on the base. I extended his chest just a little bit. And originally I was thinking about armor and what kind of armor I wanted to put into him. However, I did want to still follow that whole Spartan look. So King Leonidas, but maybe not exactly King Leonidas. However, I realized when I was looking it up, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. They had their cape that they wore. King Leonidas did have his armor, his chest armor, his chest plate. I'm not sure if that definitely wasn't from, the 300 version, but it definitely kind of was from history. However, all the other ones, they had like some straps around their chest, and then they also had the cape. So I said, you know what, let me play with the cape. And I just added a few worms of clay at first just to see how it would look. You definitely want to go in, just add little areas, kind of do an outline, and then look at it, take a step back and say, you know what, does this work? Is this cool? Do I like it? Before you take that time to actually go all in, make all of these folds and creases, and then take a step back and say, you know what, I don't like it, I'm gonna rip it all off. Or even worse, you say, I don't like it, but I put all that work into it, so I'm just gonna leave it and I'll deal with it. So I did all that. I made, a worm of clay here, a big circle here, a worm of clay that went here to here. I took a step back, I looked at it, I liked the way it flowed. And so so then I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. Now, this actually does need to get a little bit smaller and it has a slightly different shape, but I made this medallion, this buckle, a little bit flatter of a circle, and then the cape, this is also off centered from what the way it's supposed to be is off centered to this side. So I added that, and then the cape flows up over this shoulder, comes across the chest over this shoulder, and then in the back, you know, Obviously, because of it connecting here and being this wider piece, it has these, these hang folds that come down, you know, like when you use, a big cape, obviously when you hang it around, your neck, you're going to have these folds that kind of come down. But then since these are a little bit up off the shoulder, it kind of comes up and over. So just following some of those lines, I got this blocked in. I worked on the ears a little bit. Now, next up is, refining everything, working on the eyes, working on the teeth. I did work on the ears, so continue those. And then smooth out the helmet, but I also have to do some battle scars. So he's not going to be a clean, I got a fresh helmet and it's never actually been used. It's just been worn around. It's for show. It is definitely going to be used for battle. He's going to have some battle scars, some scratches, some marks on that. So I'm going to work on that next week as well. However, right now, I'm super happy with the progress. These are turning into some interesting characters. So I'm happy with it. Now, as you guys are working on yours, I hope your characters are turning out awesome as well. Really figuring out what that demon looks like to you, giving him a face, and then being able to kind of dig in and try to understand him just a little bit. And then also gearing up and making your wellness guard your partner, your friend, and really having him watch your back and stand guard. So create some awesome characters, have fun sculpting. It doesn't have to be a portrait, it doesn't even have to be clay if you want to draw or paint or anything like that. Clay is definitely fun though. Just start with a smiley face, start with an emoji, add on some features, and just kind of see where the clay takes you. So have fun with this, and I will see you again next week when we finish these guys up or get them to at least a decent completed stage to where I'm happy with the story they are telling.